Howdy, folks. Season 1, Episode 4 of Hanging Out. Not Hanging Out. Good start, Charlie. It's called Woodshop Talk with Charlie and Russ. Russ not here. He's making a road trip with the son that just got out of the Marines. Hoorah. All right. I'm going to jump right into roll call so I don't make a further idiot of myself. I'm going to start left to right. Just tell everybody where you're from and how they can find you on social media, starting with Mr. Brian Gidney.
Hi, I'm Brian Gidney. I run a channel called Summers Woodworking on YouTube. You can find me there or go to summerswoodworking.co.
Thank you, sir. And we're going to move on over to our Q&A guy, Mr. Chris Cute.
Well, good evening, Charles. My name is Chris Cute. You can find me on YouTube under Chris Cute Woodworking and also on Facebook under Make the First Cut.
Make that first cut, by God, and thank you for doing the Q&A, sir. Somebody's already writing to me. Okay. Next we have Chris Ahern, also known as Chris the Wheeler. Let everybody know where they can find you, sir.
You can find me on Facebook under Old Cranky Workshop and on YouTube under Chris the Wheeler. For some reason, I can't get the Old Cranky Workshop YouTube page to work, so I'm talking everything under my racing name right now.
10-4, much obliged, sir. If you don't mind remuting yourself so the camera will stay with where I'm trying to get it. Thank you. Mr. Edgar Netris, tell everybody about yourself, sir.
I'm old and I can't hear you.
Tell everybody where you is.
Okay, my name's Edgar Natris. I don't really have a YouTube channel, but I do have some videos out. It's not that much to think of. My Facebook is Edgar Natris. It's N as in Nelly, ATTRESS, and I hope I can contribute to the show.
We hope you can too, sir. But at least you're filling a chair, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, I'm important.
Yay! All right, we're going to move on over to our favorite Wisconsin. What do they call people from Wisconsin? Nick Perry.
Wisconsinites.
Wisconsinites. I think there's don't they make a medicine for that? Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Nick Ferry out of Wisconsin. Go ahead, tell everybody all about yourself.
I'm Nick Ferry, and I'm most active on social media on I couldn't even say it. I was gonna say on MySpace, but I'm like, is that even a thing anymore? I had it all like all lined up. I was like, you guys can go check me out on MySpace. But no, just nickferry.com. You can find all the pertinent stuff.
By God. Thank you very much, Nick. I don't remember where these folks are from because I've slept since then, but we have Sarah and Charlie, Team Slovana Farms. Go for it.
Hey, everyone. How y'all doing? We have a hodgepodge of a channel from we're learning how to woodwork. We've been doing stuff ourselves for a while, the DIY stuff, home innovation.
DIY.
That little married couple band on
that. DIY, that's what I said.
Okay.
You said DUY, but that's cool. I didn't hear nothing. Go ahead.
DIY.
And forget that part.
There's some sewing, there's some tractoring. It's a hodgepodge. So we're on Facebook, the Instagrams, and the Twitters.
And the interweb.
In the interweb, and if you watch nothing else, watch the video of her complaining about ironing and complaining and her mowing her yard. This is entertainment, folks, at its best. Thank you, Sarah and Charlie. Where are y'all out of? Georgia?
Savannah, Georgia.
All righty, thank you. I believe that's somewhere near Mr. Steve Carmichael.
It is, yes.
And Steve, that was your cuter talk, sorry.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm about 4 hours away from them, just north of Atlanta. And I have a website. It's thecarmichaelworkshop.com, and you can find links to my YouTube channel and MySpace and Facebook. I actually have a MySpace.
I used to.
Yeah, but that's it. Yeah, I just make fun woodworking projects on my wife's side of the garage.
Awesome deal. Okay, I do have one more person to introduce, but I'm going to introduce myself first because the last person I introduced can have a little more to talk about than just social media. My name is Charles Deering. I am the co-host of Woodshop Talk with Charlie and Russ. I'm the Charlie part. Funny. Anyway, it's my channel, Charles Deering Scroll, is where you're seeing this, unless it got rebooted, which is a whole other topic. But yeah, I'm Charles Deering and the Charles Deering on Facebook, and we're going to move on over to Sterling Davis And I'm going to tell you why I waited till last. And I'll just let him go right into his little spiel.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sterling Davis with Sterling's Woodcrafts. You can find me on YouTube at Sterling Davis. I'm most active on Facebook with Sterling's Woodcrafts. I've recently went on to Instagram, which is a cool thing that I've done. It's kind of a behind-the-scenes pre-show stuff, the little clips and pictures of things I'm working on throughout the week. So if you want some sneak peeks of stuff that's coming up, you can check me out on Instagram. Also, I do the Twitter thing, and not as active as I probably should be, but that's pretty much it on the social medias.
The Twitter, huh?
The Twitter.
The Twitter. Mr. Sterling Davis, there's a reason he has that banner behind him. He has started a challenge, and I'll let him tell you the particulars and why that banner is behind him besides the pride behind it. Go ahead.
I've just recently, this will be the second annual Pallet Upcycle Challenge. And what the Pallet Upcycle Challenge is basically what the title is. You take a pallet, you create something from the pallet, you submit a video to me, and I'll enter you to win some cool prizes. So that's as simple as it is. That's randomized, there's no judging. You create something in your shop with pallet wood, and you have a chance to win some cool prizes from Craig Tools, from Micro Jig, from Rockular, from Fast Cap, Inventables, Easy Wood Tools. I've got some great corporate sponsors, and on top of that, as you see the banner behind me, this particular year is more sentimental to me based on my family's military background and my daughter. My daughter has just recently went into the Army, and I'm very proud of her. She's doing great. She's loving it, and I'm proud that she's serving our country. But what I'd love to do and what I'm going to do with this pallet challenge, for every video that is submitted to me, I'm going to donate $1 to the Wounded Warrior Project, up to $100. And with that, all of my earnings from July and August, from any earnings at all that I get through the social medias and YouTubes, will also go to the Wounded Warriors. I've been overwhelmed with the YouTube woodworking and just maker content creators that have got on board and supported this, and right now we have 5 other YouTube content creators that is going to match that contribution to the Wounded Warrior Project. So I'm really looking forward to what this may become. Number one, you get out into your shop and create something, have fun. That's the purpose of it. Just get out there and have fun in your shop. And also, we get to help some great people that helped us in serving our country and giving us the things that we have today to be able to have the freedoms that we have today. People don't really realize the sacrifice that people put into their lives in the armed services to have what we have today. So I just want to give back, and this is just a little bit, but every little bit can help. So I'm just proud to be a part of that.
Thank you very much. That speaks for itself. Kudos to you for the challenge and for hooking up with them. The organization speaks for itself, and thank you for what they do if they ever happen to see this video. I don't really know how to follow. Go ahead, Sterling.
Well, I was going to say, if anybody wanted to contribute to that, they can simply go to the woundedwarriorproject.org. You can personally donate to the Wounded Warrior Project. You could do it by state, by going to your state's Wounded Warrior Project. So it's open to anybody that wants to give. This is not just limited to a certain thing.
Alrighty, thank you very much for that, Sterling. And folks, that's why I waited till last, because I wanted to give him enough time to get all that in. Thank you very much, Sterling. I'm going to start left to right. Tonight's topic is it's sort of open-ended, but it could be how you do it or whether or not you do it. But pre-planning for a project, whether that be going by plans, making your own plans, or just whether or not you wing it. And I'm going to start left to right, going with Brian getting out of New Mexico.
Sometimes I plan it out. Sometimes I just wing it. But when I start doing my X carving stuff, of course, I got to plan stuff out for that. So,
Absolutely.
and the thing I like about it is it's a open source. As long as you're a member of Inventables easel community, you'll be able to download plans from your favorite woodworkers like Steve.
Go. Plug.
So when he gets done with his guitars, if I get the lumber, I can do that too.
All right, I appreciate it, Brian. We're going to move on over to, okay, we just got something in the Q&A. Somebody that was on the panel got shut down. Just going to sit this one out. Sorry that happened to you, sir. Sorry. Okay, we're going to move on over to Chris Cute. Do you find yourself pre-planning or just winging it as you go, or how do you do what you do?
Honestly, Charles, I don't draw plans like you would do with an Inventables project, and I don't even do the SketchUp either. I kind of get an idea of what I want to do, and I kind of and I do the hand measuring, but I make notes, and I write out my plans on paper, and I just don't go into a computer program and put in dimensions and things of that nature, and then come out with a cut list, and then try to follow the paper that came out of the printer. I make things the way that I need them, and I've never done it the way. I mean, even as a kid, I would get instructions for a model, on how to build this model car, and I never used them. I mean, it's like I put it together, but then of course you go, I got parts left over. But as long as it rolled and it was good, I was fine with it. That's just the way I've learned, and this is the way I work. And I'm not that old, so I could change, but I don't want to. I enjoy doing what I do because I build things out of my head as I do them. I don't want to follow somebody else's instructions on how to do something. I guess and it's not a bad thing, because if I had to build a home or a shed or something that was a structural thing that was really important to be precise, I would probably open the plans up and look at it and do it accordingly. But
yeah, the roof goes on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see where people would think that plans could be, for lack of a better word, stifling or limitation.
But if it takes you to where you want to go, then I say that's fantastic. I just don't. I have just never used them. That's all.
And thank you, Chris. For anybody on this panel, I would think along with the stifling, the limitations, I think trial and error is how some of us learn. Some of us learn the hard way, but you don't forget when you learn something the hard way, for lack of a better way of putting it. But I'm going to thank you for that, Chris. And this is the other Chris Ahern, if you'd like to tell people whether or not you wing it, go by plans, blah, blah, blah.
I'm kind of in the middle. I don't really like Chris says. I don't I'll set out a cut list on a sheet of plywood and mark it all out, and I'm going to squeeze every inch as I can out of that piece of plywood. I really should, because I'm a cheap bastard at heart and I don't want to buy lumber. But at the same time, I'll sit at the pub with my notebook. I keep writing my truck at all times, and I'll draw out what I want to build, and then I just kind of shoot from the hip as I start building. Or I'll steal a picture somewhere. Like right now, I'm building a desk for my wife. Stole all the dimensions right from Crate and Barrel's own website. Silly people, they give you the dimensions of the damn thing. So it's an easy knockoff. It's almost identical to what they have, and I'm making a few alterations that will work for her. So, but I'm better when I just shoot from the hip. I just make it up as I go along. And last year, some of you may have seen my Christmas train video. That was all just a couple nights in the workshop working with what I had. I didn't buy any materials for it. I had some broken Christmas ornaments. I had some scrap lumber lying around, and just knocked it out and strung some light through it. And it was a hit of the neighborhood for the Christmas season. But it was just, I finished one section. Hey, what if I did this too? And the ideas just kept rolling as I was working on it. And actually, as I said, I'm already starting Christmas stuff, and one of them is a caboose for that train. I've already got that laid out and getting started. So.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm laughing for things that people.
No, I see it too. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. For folks,
I bring it, and my projects come out better that way. The funny thing is, I'll get off in a second. My father-in-law is also a builder and a woodworker, and he's always asking me, "Where did you get the plans for that project?" I'm like, "Plan? There's no plan."
Exactly. There again, I can't thank you, Chris. I can't say enough. I really think that, at least with me, trial and error tends to work. But if I'm making something like a chair as a gift to my wife, I want it to be stable, because if that breaks, I'm getting a divorce. So there's certain things I will use plans on. All right, thank you, Chris. And for the folks at home, the reason why I'm giggling is because most of the entertainment on these shows is in the chat between panel members that folks at home can't see. So yeah, I think we're already starting the party behind the scenes, and I'm really scared of how the show can end. But anyway, Edgar Natras, would you like to address the topic, sir?
I actually do a little both. It's like pretty much most of my home projects or anything I do personally is like there's no plans. Sometimes if I get to a point where I have to think it out, I'll draw it out on a piece of paper or something. But other than that, nothing. But as a lot of people on this panel know, it's like I'm a woodworker professionally. So it's like somebody will bring me plans themselves, and then we'll work something up. We'll draw something, do a flat draw, or we'll even go to something on the computer, make that work out. But I do a little bit of both worlds there.
So how often?
I'll mix it up.
How often would you say that when somebody brings you a drawing that they don't understand the structural integrity or makeup of how something should go together to work? How often do you find yourself having to alter it in that sense?
I don't have to alter it per se, but I would have to explain to them how it would go together to suit their needs. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how often the customer actually knows that something has to be done a certain way in order to keep it standing. I mean, obviously you know that, but does the customer know that when they're showing you their rough draft? Is kind of what else.
Right. It's okay. A lot of times these people they bring me a picture that was on Pinterest or something like that. So can you build me one of these? I say, yeah, I can build you one of those. And they ask me how much, and that's a whole another subject altogether. And then I go, it's like, okay, this is how I'm gonna build it. If you want to know, or it's like, and then I tell them how much it's gonna cost. And whatever, it doesn't matter at that point. But as far as any interaction I have with one of my customers, if it's a consignment piece or anything else like that, I have to have a design so that I can work with them. Okay, but if it's a personal project, maybe I don't do so much on the design part. But I might have to work something out on a piece of paper, get my joints right, or get the joinery, on a specific part or piece, or get the work flowing better.
Are you distracted? I know you're distracted. The same crap I'm distracted. Yeah.
Yeah. Stop it.
These people love to do this crap. Mark Stallings used to be the worst at it. Love you, Mark, but yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Ed. I'm going to get back to you, Edgar, because I know there's a specific, when you are constructing and planning something on the computer, I know how you do it, and I'd like to save that for slightly later. But I will come back to you. That was not meant to cut you off.
I understand.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on.
Nick Perry, do you wing it, bring it, or howdy? Do you wing it, bring it, or just pre-plan it? By God.
If I were a winged bird, I'd be a dodo. I would not fly this wing. Keep it down.
I hate to steal your thunder, but you're breaking up a little bit.
I just tell my kids to stop looking up on YouTube videos.
Okay,
well, let me know if I'm breaking up again, because I have no idea how these interwebs work. It's all like video voice.
What?
We can kind of make it out. Go ahead.
I got stickers.
I think he's screwing with us now.
Sketchbook that I've had for a while, and I've had multiple ones over the years. And as soon as I got stickers, I had to throw my sticker on it. But perfect example of, sometimes I draw them out, sometimes I don't. Like that barbecue tray. I don't know if I can show this, but I mean, I really kind of went through the ringer on trying to get this one to like where everything was gonna lay out, where everything was gonna be, that happy horse poo poo. But sometimes I go out to the shop and I just have an idea, and I just it might not even be a project, but I'm like, can I make a board come together with a board like this? And I just do it. It has nothing to do with drawings or anything like that. But a lot of times with a major project, yeah, I'll draw it out. If it's a project like that has exacting dados and exacting spots, then I go to SketchUp.
Yeah.
But for the most, I just kind of rough draft and have at her.
10-4. Thank you, Nick. Now, for those that don't know, I consider everybody on this panel woodworker to a degree, but Nick Berry, I think, is too diverse to call just a woodworker. And Nick, if you'd like to elaborate on that, just to kind of sort of plug what you do, a little bit of everything. But
yeah, I mean, I was just one of those kids that just wanted to take everything apart, and at the time I was a kid, I never knew how to put it back together, and then my mom would slap me or grab my ear or something, and say how much she paid for it, that I couldn't put it back together. But here's another thing. This is going to be the most anticlimactic thing of the show, because I can't show the front side, but that didn't sound good. If you're in the moment, I was designing paper plates involved, and I had an idea for another woodworker, Matt Cremona, and I'm showing you the back side of a paper plate. How interesting is that? Well, because the other side I can't show you, but I drew out what I had going for Matt Cremona on the other side. So that's an awesome story.
way to draw people in, too. I appreciate that. Thank you, Nick. Chris, feel free to interrupt if there's anything in the Q&A you feel is worthy of bringing up. I'll take that as a no.
No. Well, Dan is here, but he didn't really have a question. He just kind of said, with the simple stuff that he does, he says, I just wing it. But the larger projects, I have some kind of plans, or his rookie ass will mess it up every time. I think it depends on if you're comfortable doing what you're doing. You probably don't have plans, but if you've never done something before, it's probably a good thing to have some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. I totally got kerfluffled because I got people trying to text me and crap. Thank you, Nick, and thank you, Chris, and Dan Ingerbretson is who that was, and Dan, I got your sticker in the mail. I appreciate that. I'm running over to Sarah and Charlie, and their channel's pretty diverse too. There's a lot of sewing, and he tries to do shop stuff, but I've seen her blowing an air compressor on her face because of her allergies and stuff. They're just entertaining to watch. But go ahead and tell people how when you do projects, do you pre-plan them? I guess with sewing, I know this is a woodworking show, but I guess if you're sewing, you need plans for that unless you've done it so long. I'll let both of y'all answer, and I'll shut up long enough to let you do that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of overlap between sewing and the woodworking world. I would say, for me personally, like if it's simple stuff, I mean, I've been sewing for a long time, so I'll use bits and pieces of patterns, or I'll mix them, or I'll use my own, whatever. But for woodworking, I'm very much a beginner, and if it's very simple, like my dovetail box that I made that was yesterday's video, today's Saturday? Yeah, yesterday's video. Like, I didn't have any plans for that because it was so uber simple, but if it's something, like I've got plans, I've got ideas for storage boxes for my sewing room that are kind of involved, at least for my level, and so I've put those plans into the SolidWorks. That's my preference of programs. I love that program, and I like the idea that. And okay, so then if it's not uber duper simple, but it's not complicated, what I'll do is I'll just sketch the drawing out by hand, like on a whiteboard or a sheet of paper. But if it's something that's complicated or something you've never done, I like the idea of putting it into SolidWorks because I can rotate it around and I can kind of see the project finished in the computer, and it gives me ideas like, oh, I could utilize that space better, or I don't need as much space here, or maybe I need more here. It just kind of, it works for me.
And also because we we do a lot of projects together.
Mhm.
If nothing else, we talk about it together.
Like, do you like this? Should we change that?
Yeah. So
And it's good to have a visual to talk about and make sure we're seeing the same thing in our mind.
Charlie, we know who gets the final decision on that, right?
the barn door. I don't know if y'all seen the barn door video, but I think I designed or drew up probably 8 different flavors of. I mean, how else can you do a barn door? Well, I figured out like 6 or 8 different kinds before we
decided
before
on
we
one
narrowed
that
down the style that we liked. And surprisingly, barn door. I'll say barn door plans, but just how to construct or how people build barn doors for an actual barn are very difficult to come by. Every time,
online.
if you type in barn door on Google or Pinterest or YouTube or any of that, it's a laundry room or a pantry.
It's like a decorative door. It's not a barn door.
Yeah, you wanted a functional barn door, and those are hard to
Right.
find.
And a lot of people, it's like that support. They forget that support brace, like it means something. And so sometimes you'll see doors where like the support braces are going opposite of what they should be, and you're like.
Well, and they just took, most of them are 4x8, and they just take a piece of plywood, and they take some 1x6 and just staple it to it and paint it and call it done.
Which is fine. It's a cute little door and stuff like that. But it was hard for us to search on that project. It was hard to Google that project.
Yeah, I guess most people are doing it for decorative purposes, so I can see where the trouble would be. Go ahead, Charlie. I interrupted you.
That's fine. Yeah, because our door is 12x12.
Wow.
So we didn't have the option to just get a piece of plywood. I would have loved to get a piece of plywood and call it done, but no, we didn't have that option. So we actually had to do some joinery to that. So that we drew up. But like workbenches and simple stuff, it's not a big deal. It just kind of depends on what the project is.
10-4, I appreciate it. On one quick note before I move on to Sterling Davis. Sarah, if you can work a sewing machine, you might actually appreciate scroll sewing, because it's almost the same exact premise, following a line if you use lines. But, I mean, you've got that steady hand. The rest is just patience. I really think if you gave it a chance, you might love scroll sewing.
I might. I see kind of a lot of overlap between the sewing and the woodworking.
And the steady hand is the big thing with it, and the patience. I really think you would take off with that.
On that note, John Schaffner is here with us, and he just said, he says, I use plans for my scroll saw work, but otherwise I usually just start with a sketch. If it's a more involved project, I'll do up a measured drawing on graph paper to scale and make it from there. But that's a great point. I mean, it's because, Sarah, if you do a lot of sewing, I would imagine that scroll sewing would be very much in line with that same kind of work.
Absolutely. The only reason I say that is my wife used to do a lot of sewing, and the steady hand. Most beginners, when they start, especially with a spiral blade, because that's whenever I teach somebody, that's all I have to show them. But my wife, she used to do sewing, and she was able to keep it on the line better than my daughters, even though there's an age difference there. But when you're used to having to keep something pretty steady to keep the stitch line, straight, then that makes sense. So, thank you, John Schaffner, Chris Cute, and Sarah and Charlie. We're going to move on over to Sterling Davis. Sterling, are you a plan kind of guy, or do you just bring it and wing it?
I pretty much wing it. As far as plans go, I use SketchUp a lot, but my version of SketchUp's a little bit different than what most people know. My SketchUp is notebook, paper, and pencil. So, I don't really do a whole lot on the computer. I probably measured more with my forearm from my hand to my elbow than I do a tape measure. So it's more of a feel for what you're trying to make, what look you're going for, and I do it as a hobby. I do it because I like. This is my sanctuary, I guess you'd say, for my sanity. So I do it for fun. And I just get out into the shop, and this is my quiet time. Even though it's loud machines in some areas, it just gives me solitude, and I don't really plan anything. Most of the things that I make, it's basically either a need for the house or something that I want to give away to somebody as a gift. I don't sell anything. I don't profit anything from anything that I do. It's more of a hobby thing to just pass time, learn things, and have fun.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Sterling. I had a point, but I forgot it. So I'm going to move on over to. I'm real good at this crap. I'm going to move on over to Steve Carmichael. He's done so many bloody things. He's kind of the one everybody watches out for in these challenges. And I just now noticed his rotating sticker thing there. That's pretty cool. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, it's my sticker rotisserie.
That's pretty cool. I know you had talked about that. I haven't been keeping up with videos. But go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry for sidetracking.
Yeah, I pretty much do as little as possible. I use a software called Microsoft Visio, which is known for like business flow charts and organizational charts and stuff. But it's got basic shapes you can draw, and it's kind of like drawing on graph paper. You can make your page as big as you want. Like you could make it 10 feet by 6 feet or whatever, and draw your project on it. So I like using that as a 2D kind of drawing. But I just did a TV stand console thing, and it needed certain measurements for openings for electronics and stuff and speakers. And so stuff like that, I will make a measured drawing. If I'm doing something on the lathe, though, whenever I'm turning something, it just kind of takes on a mind of its own and just comes out whatever shape it wants to be, I guess.
Well, there aren't ways to pre-plan a lathe unless it's a method, is it? I mean, I'm guessing I've never turned.
Yeah, like if you turn spindles, you can make things certain diameters, using calipers and stuff like that. But I'm working on an electric guitar now, and that I've been kind of planning that since about March when I found out I was going to get the larger X-Carve. So with a guitar, you kind of have to plan out the scale and the fret locations, and there's a lot of key measurements in order to make the guitar work, and so that it makes all the right notes in the right spots and that sort of stuff. So that's taken a lot of planning. That's been March, April, May, June, 3 to 4 months in planning, and for me it's hard just to decide what kind of shape I want to make it.
Yeah, I think that's where you're wanting to be unique, because with the precision of a musical instrument like a guitar, it has to be a certain way. But with your creative mind, there's no doubt in my mind something funky is going to come out on the shape on the end of that thing.
Yeah, and I still change that every day and mess around with it. But
I saw Jimmy DeResta's. It was an old episode of the show he was on, and he made what he called a buzz saw, but it's like a circular saw blade. I thought that was cool. I didn't mean to name drop on you there, but I appreciate it, Steve. I'm going to jump on over because we were talking about other methods, and I believe Edgar, I don't know if anybody else on the panel does besides what Sterling jokingly referred to as SketchUp, but I know Edgar is pretty proficient in SketchUp, as is Jay Bates. But Edgar, how do you want to introduce how you use SketchUp when you do use it?
The easiest way I can explain it is like somebody comes to me with a problem, and I'll have a picture in my head already, and then I'll put something on the SketchUp, and then it just grows legs from there. It's like I'll draw lines and squares and all this other stuff, and it's like, okay, we don't want that. Let's make it bigger, make it smaller. I have some friends across the pond, if you will, that I have talked to, and I've worked out a couple of problems for them just using SketchUp and other tools just like that. It's hard to get them to work into this type of format so that we can get everything going together. So I have to take snapshots. I'll work something up in SketchUp, and I'll take a shot of it, and then I'll have to send it over to him. And it takes a while, but it's actually easier than me trying to explain it to him. And just earlier today, I was trying to tell another person, was it you?
I believe it was me. If you were talking about the thing with the foot.
How to make the simplest jig ever
Well, thank you for pointing that out. That it was the simplest thing ever, and I had to be shown. I appreciate that.
No, what I'm saying is like, okay, not everybody has the same grasp of tools or how things could flow together that other people do. Okay, sometimes yes, we all need instructions, and sometimes we can just look at a picture and say, oh, okay, we're done, and then we just put everything together, and it's like, okay, it's like I don't mind helping out with any aspect of that. And yes, that's what I do. It's like I actually have a student, and I know that's what you were doing when you put me on the spot here. I have a student I've been doing this with for the past 6 months. Okay, and she'll come up with something with a design, and it's like, okay, you're wrong. And I'll tell her how she's wrong, and then she might start crying, and I go, ha ha ha. Like, okay, no, I'm serious. I didn't mean to make her cry. But she'll start crying. He's like, I'm not going to ever be a woodworker. It's like, look, you're trying. That's the best point right there. It's like you're trying. So let's work with it from let's start from the beginning. Let's find out what is wrong with it, and let's go forward with it. And it's like, okay, this is what your finished product is, what you want it to be, and we'll move backwards. So we the whole process.
That's for the record, I tried not to cry. I'm just letting you know.
Okay, I was actually trying to make you cry on that aspect.
I appreciate that, Edgar. I'm going to jump around just to random people here. Thank you very much for that, Edgar. I'm going to jump over to Nick and just do a pop quiz. Nick, did you put the drink down? I'm just kidding. Okay, if I know you the way I think I do, you should be arrested. I'm kidding. If I know you the way I think I do, you probably like to wing it, but you may every now and then find you need to go by a plan because you thought you knew how you wanted it to work and it didn't quite work the way you planned it. Is that a safe assumption?
Well, sometimes it's as simple as, and this is no joke, and this is bad. This is one of my sketches.
It's a box.
I mean, sometimes it's a matter of visualizing, and what it probably didn't show there was what was in my brain. Normally paper doesn't show what's in your brain, but how I actually wanted, whether it's end grain to a rabbit, or it's end grain to face grain, or mitered, or a miter lock joint, or something like that. Sometimes I just need to do a real small, quick sketch, and then go, yes, that's how I want to proceed from here. But a lot of times I do just, because a lot of us do this, I think outside of Edgar, we do this as a hobby. It's a release of like frustration. It's a sanctuary. It's so a lot of times I'll just it'll be in the middle of the night, and I'll just come out and I'll just start whittling away at something. I can't use power tools, loud ones, late into the night, but I'll just, like I said before, can I join boards like this? Can I, how strong is this? Are they going to meet up in the middle, so to speak? And a lot of times but if it's precise dados and stuff like that, I'll use SketchUp. But most of the time, it's just go out and have fun with it.
How often would you say that you got better at doing something because of trial and error, finding out it didn't work the way you thought it would?
Oh, 100% of the time. I mean, every failure is a learning experience. I mean,
exactly.
There's no doubt whatsoever. And if somebody is new to woodworking and they go to put their first project together and the boards don't line up, or the board splits or something, and they're like, screw it, I'm not doing this, I failed. No. If you continue and you go, why did the board split? Oh, maybe I should have pre-drilled. Maybe I should have used a smaller brad nail. Maybe I should have, it's a learning experience. And after a culmination of years and years, then you start to accumulate that data set in your head going, I'm not going to sit here and try and drive a 20-penny nail in half-inch cedar. I knew, from years ago that doesn't work.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I appreciate you answering that. I'm gonna throw this out to the whole panel and just let anybody comment on planning in general. Any comment, or even if it's completely off topic but has to do with woodworking. No. Anybody wants to say anything? Say something.
I'll help you out, because there are times where and I don't know how people get into everybody's got a different story about how they get into woodworking, but a lot of times you learn by doing, and you learn by doing because you have to do something or you want to do something for your home. And there's no better example than Sarah and Charlie right there. They were building that catio, and I know darn well that, you know, they didn't spend time on SketchUp drawing that thing up. They just kind of walked it out and looked at it and put it in the ground and made it happen. If they could talk about the process that they went through there, I mean, because that's a different total aspect about what we're talking about. Well, I mean, if you're trying to build a jewelry box, that's one thing, but they were actually working on their home, and they had to do something for their cats. And
yeah, I can just see Sarah now. I want 6 pink boards over here. And Charlie saying, no, we're going to have 5 blue ones over here, dang it.
How did you guys go about constructing that and designing it? I guess is what the whole topic is.
Absolutely, y'all are on.
We pretty much walked that out, and...
But, I mean, I wouldn't really call that a woodworking project. That was just kind of a DIY, wanting to get this thing done. Like, that was, you know, that was fairly simple. I don't know.
Did I at least get the accent right? 6 pink boards over here.
Yeah, but you know what, sir? It's not simple to everybody. There's people out there that want to learn that, and they might go to your channel to find out how to do it. So, I mean, just how you guys doing it.
And I hope that those videos are valuable to people who want to do catios. Definitely, that's part of the reason why we're doing the YouTubes, is try to be helpful for other people. But for
yeah, I mean, I don't like.
We kind of had a rough idea of what we wanted, and we did a fair amount of fencing before with our dog run and whatnot. So it was kind of like, let's do a very tall fence with a top to her.
Yeah, I mean, there were the same techniques. I mean, it's pretty much doing a fence.
Yeah.
I mean, you can search for a YouTube video on how to put a pole in and stretch a fence, and you'll get a video for that. Yeah. But you know how it applies to a catio this is what we did, and so we try not to clog it up with here's how to dig a hole, here's how to, you know, stretch a fence, here's how to tamp it, and you know, clog it up with too much other stuff. This is a catio. This is how we're doing the catio. You know, if you want to look for a video on how to set a pole, then that's another video.
Yeah.
Which we may or may not do, but you know, that's another.
Y'all are a good example, in my opinion, as are pretty much, I think, everybody on this panel, is where your personality plays into your popularity. I'll admit, I haven't watched every one of your videos, but do y'all tend to show your mistakes to show people how you got past it?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, I think your personality definitely adds to your channel, most definitely.
Thank you. I think you showing your mistakes makes you relatable, because we all make them.
Oh yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
and it's not real inspiring when if you're trying to learn how to do something and you're watching the expert and it's perfect, or even if they just try to come off like they're perfect, that doesn't always help you learn how to do something, because it looks so easy, and it takes 30 seconds.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah. So,
I go through that a lot. I mean, when you see these people say, well, he made it look so easy, why is this like 3 inches off? They say measure twice, cut once, but if you measure twice wrong, you're going to cut twice wrong.
I thought the catio was a great example of how you don't really need plans to do, because I mean, you guys obviously had a vision in your mind about what you wanted to do, and that was your plan.
Right.
Yeah, you didn't need a SketchUp, and that's kind of how I work as well. So it was very relatable for me to look at what you guys were doing and understand the process that went through it. I mean, I know tape measures were involved to cut off the tops of the poles, make them all even, and things of that nature. But other than that, it's really not that hard.
Right. It was a simple, yeah, thanks.
Okay.
I made it 1.5 tall.
So Sarah, you weren't saying anything like 5 pink boards over there?
I think that's a little too scarlet.
Sorry, I'm not a very good impressionist. I get a kick out of y'all's personality on the thing.
If it makes you happy, Charles, we're not judging.
Well, you might judge, you just won't do it on the air, right?
I can judge.
I've heard Edgar will judge to your face, but I'm gonna leave the panel open. We only have little under 15 minutes left, so anybody just shout out. No, why don't I just make it organized? We're going to pretend I'm organized. Starting with Brian, what are you currently working on? I'm going to guess the X-Car, but maybe I'm wrong.
That's it. X-Carve. Just finished that up. Now
All
I'm
right.
going to probably do some carving.
All right. Thank you very much. And for anybody that follows NASCAR, you're probably watching it right now, but Dale Jr., my man, is not doing so well. Things are not going good with his brakes. I don't know if I can continue the show. Don't hush. No, I hate it when there's a Saturday race and I got to do my show because I'm so bloody dedicated to these people.
I was going to show the gift that you sent me.
Oh, well then, by God, I'm going to jump over to Nick Berry. Yeah, not if you got burn marks all over it.
When I went to start a YouTube channel, I sat in my living room with my wife holding the camera, and I was trying to do all these professional poses and all whatever. I look like an idiot normally, but I look like an uber idiot that day. And she goes, just do one that's you. And I did this, you know, like I was just being goofy. She goes, there you go, that's your thumbnail. And it's stuck with me ever since. So Charlie picked it up. And it's supposed to go like that, actually.
Yeah. That was a hoot to do. I appreciate you showing that, Nick.
But that is really cool. I saw that and I'm like, dang, you know, I gotta do something with that. I haven't made a video in a while, but it'll be in there.
I appreciate that, Nick. Yeah, I actually have a few people I was going to do pictures for, but I didn't want to look like I was on suck-up mode and, you know, just being a fanboy to everybody I follow. Thank you for that, Nick. What the hell were we talking about? Oh, Chris Q, what are you currently working on? And I'll let you go to the Q&A after that if you so choose.
Well, Charles, I'm sorry you missed the NASCAR race because, I mean, you know, God forbid they actually take a right-hand turn.
That's road courses. That's on road courses, dagnabbit. Go ahead.
Because, you know, if they did, you'd miss it, and that would ruin the NASCAR.
I'm just proving how dedicated I am for all of you.
Yeah, okay, well, I guess, hey, what if you like it, brother, that's good for you.
My God.
We on. I have a couple things on my workbench, but it's really nothing to brag about. I've got a few things that I'm just trying to clear up some extra lumber that's around my shop from what was left over from my brother's project that I did for him. And when I'm done with that, God help me, I get to work with dimensional lumber again.
Would you like to hold up your latest innovative, very engineered project?
Oh, sure. Well, I don't know if I have one. Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah, I made some coasters. If you.
I think that's awesome, though. I mean, you're dismissing it for like nothing, but I think that's awesome. Is that?
You know, I guarantee you they're going to sell. They're going to sell.
That's cool. I think
it's the simplest freaking thing in the world, but I couldn't think of anything that. He asked me the night before. I need stuff for tomorrow's show. Can you come up with something? I go, what the hell can I do in an overnight period of time? And I had one piece of lumber left, and I went, why hell, why not? Here we go, coasters.
So you didn't have time to pre-plan.
It's how you market it. You just have to, all natural wooden coasters. $10.
Everything is huge.
Slowly grown in a forest far, far away.
Exactly.
This is from a magic tree.
New and improved.
Fresh from Hogwarts. Yeah.
I would even put on there and be like, you can't get this stuff just anywhere. It's not like the stuff grows on trees.
I've never seen coasters growing on a tree, so that's a very good point. Chris, while I have you,
go ahead.
While I have you, if there's anything in the Q&A you want to address, I'll just go ahead and let you throw it out there.
Well, I don't have any questions. I had a lot of people talking. I got Donna Presley and Ron Harry there, and hello, and thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. Ron says he'll take 100 different wrong ways to do something over a slick, edited, perfect-looking project, and you know I'm kind of right there with him with that. And Donna says right now I'm making pens for about 2 more weeks. Then I'm going to try out Russ's jig for compound cutting and do a couple of these chess pieces with boards. So you know, rock on. Good for you, Donna.
Thank you, Donna and Rob Herod. I think that's how you pronounce it. I have no clue. Herod, okay. Herod. And Donna's been putting up some pretty pins on Facebook. One of them's a rebel flag, and we won't go into that topic. God knows it's been covered all week. Chris Ahern, what are you currently working on, sir? Or I think you already told us, but go ahead and say it again.
I'm working on a desk with my wife while my contractor installs doors in my house. But while we've been chatting here, I've been pulling the old lock assemblies out of the old doors. These date back to the 1800s.
Wow.
So I'm hoping I can, between the locks, all the knobs, and the other sort of hardware we've ripped out in the past 3 or 4 days, I'm hoping I can trade them down the architectural warehouse place for some new radiators for the house.
Well, that'd be cool. You got a lot of old stuff in your house, don't you?
Well, it was built in 1867.
Yeah, because of the last show we did was hand tools, and you were talking about how the hand crank. I know it starts with a B. I can never remember what the heck it's called.
The bit brace.
Yeah, the bit brace. You said that actually had a benefit to it on the floors you were dealing with. So.
Yeah. But,
okay.
So,
67. Wow, Charlie was only, or Charles was only like 10 at the time.
You're a funny fella. Don't let this gray hair fool you, folks. I'm only 15 years old. My God.
But the fun thing is, the wood from the doors is pretty damn thick. So I'm going to try to cut it down and use it on the lathe.
Heck yeah.
So
that's
I tend not to throw it away.
Absolutely. That makes you a harder and a typical woodworker. Thank you very much, Chris. Moving on over to Edgar. What are you currently working on, mister?
I'm working. Stupid. I hate this computer. Anyway, hello.
Hi, Ed.
Okay. I'm currently working on finishing up 2 bed projects for some preteen girls. Themed beds. I might have some pictures up. I'm not going to do any video because that's really not my thing. That's my customer and my my student. I have to try to keep that private. Okay, if you understand.
Understood.
So I got that going, and I'm working at the finals on my own workshop.
Cool.
The permits have to be done. You know, we're waiting for the red tape to be cut and just get going with it.
Alrighty then. Thank you, mister. Nick Berry, God only knows what he's working on, but what are you working on, Nick?
I think this might be the 3rd time I said it now, though.
Oh, well, I'm only saying what I'm supposed to say. I don't pay attention to the answers.
Yeah, the wife and I went out today to the grocery store and then the home garden store, and I told her we were at the grocery store trying to get, and I told her, I said, you know, we go to the home and garden store next. It's out 5 or 6 herb planters. So I said I'll throw a little quick planter together. Why not?
And for much obliged. Sarah and Charlie, what the heck are y'all working on?
We are kind of
Working on
trying to get things set up a little bit, and the shop is kind of a mess.
I can relate to that one. I'm sorry to jump right back over to me. Since I did Nick's portrait, I just haven't been motivated. I don't know if seeing that face for too long tormented me or what. I just, other than being in this computer room, I haven't done much in the shop at all. Sorry, Nick.
Well, I'm just glad with my wide face, it was a circle still, and it wasn't like an oval.
Yeah, I didn't have enough wood for the oval, though. And I left the backer off of it because I know you're a fan of flat black, but I didn't want to assume. I usually do a gloss black behind it. But anyway, I'm going to jump over to Sterling Davis and see what the heck he's working on.
Finishing up the X-Carb. Right now I'm working on the electronics on the Arduino and all that hooked up for the startup. So I'm hoping to be done with that within the next day or two. But with that, obviously the pallet challenge, I've got a lot of projects in mind the next few weeks after this week for pallet projects. But I also wanted to give a shout out to Laney Shaughnessy, a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
They all know Laney as a simple design of Ocala. He has the Whirly Gig contest that's going on right now. make sure you get in on that for the month of July. He's actually extended this the entire month of July, and as soon as that ends, we go right into the pallet challenge. So check out Laney on the simple design of the pallet. He's got some freaking amazing sponsors there, but I'm looking forward to the pallet challenge coming up also. So that's pretty much all I'm working on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you bringing that up. I had neglected to think of that. Well, we only got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to go ahead and shut her down early, but everybody can unmute themselves and say goodbye in your own special way, or just wave like the Beverly Hillbillies.
Goodbye in your own special way.
Later, dude!
All right.
No mooning the camera.
But, yeah, okay, this is a good time to shut it out because somebody's going to try to moon the camera.
I can do that. Hang on.
No. All right, folks, I appreciate all y'all being here. Thank you for the many viewers we had and the Q&A, folks. Thank you, Chris, for manning that, and everybody else. Y'all just keep that blind. You butthole. Thank you. Thank you for. I forgot what I was going to say. Just keep.